So you'd like to know why the CEO, Rony Abovitz of Magic Leap, is taking so long to present us with his dream of Magic Leap glasses. This is still one of the most secret startups of all time, of augmented reality, virtual reality, or as Ronnie calls it, mixed reality. And the answer lies in the psyche and personality behind one of the biggest kick startups of all time. I'm Aaron Gross from Software Explained, and to answer this question properly of why Magic Leap glasses are taking so long to get out there, we need to dig deep and look deep into the history and the psyche of Rony Abovitz in order to find the answer of why it's taking so long. So let's start with his early life background. He was born in 1971. Abovitz's father worked in the real estate industry and his mother was an artist. He grew up playing Atari games. At the age of 8, he received his first computer that he says was a Macintosh. After high school, Abovitz aimed to be a scientist. That was what he wanted to do for a career. He attended the University of Miami, where he eventually attained a biomedical engineering master's degree. And while attending the university, he'd also work, interestingly enough, as a cartoonist for the university that he was on, for their paper. I had a look at some of his cartoons that he wrote. They're very enigmatic and unusual, but he himself is a very unusual personality that's coupled with a real science fiction bent interest together with his engineering, which he's got this amazing ability to pull both of these seemingly opposite of areas, one very creative and one really nuts and bolts together to create his Magic Leap dream, which we're going to further investigate. In 2004, with his colleagues, Abovitz founded Mako Surgical Corp, which is a company manufacturing surgical robotic arm assistance platforms. It gets used by orthopedic surgeons for use in partial knee or total hip replacement operations or a hip reconstruction operation. And a bit before that, before the official Mako, there was this company called ZCAT Incorporated. That was founded by Rony earlier in 1997, where he began laying the groundwork by securing its first big round of funding by September the 10th, 2001. A New York firm called and promised a $15 million investment for this fledgling company. But there was just one little problem. The next day, on a date called September the 11th, 2 planes toppled into the Twin Towers. Mako investors at the time barely escaped with their lives, and the investment fell apart. Mako was out of money. Abovitz said at the time to everyone that was there that everyone who wants to quit can quit, but we're not stopping, we're continuing. And one person out of the whole company actually left, and the rest resolved to work. And even though they didn't get paid, they stayed on for months. Finally, a venture out of Princeton invested in 2002, and the company regained its footing, and Abovitz saved the day. Mako officially launched from its headquarters in Davie 2 years later, and its surgical robot performed its first knee replacement in June of 2006. Abovitz and his team met their first patient. He recalls this is a sweet woman in her late 60s in a hospital in Fort Lauderdale, and right before the surgery, she said to them, "Oh, you guys must be the robot boys." That's what he remembered her saying, and she also said, "Don't worry, it'll be okay." She was very reassuring to them, and she was right. The surgery was successful, and after 2 more years of trials, Mako went public in February 2008. Abovitz told the University of Miami engineers that going public was like going to the Super Bowl for him, but it wasn't the ecstatic moment it should have been. A few weeks before Mako's IPO, Abovitz's father died, and then just as the company went public, the economy tanked and the nation slid into the worst recession since the Great Depression. In his talk at the University of Miami, he was recorded saying, "I was like, how's this happening? I did the 9/11 thing. Come on, universe, this isn't fair." Again, Mako's financial backers tried to pull the plug on the company. Abovitz called them in and he told them, "Look, you guys, screw you, we're not stopping." He somehow was able to wheel in enough financing to continue despite the economic downturn, and Abovitz saved the company, Mako. By 2011, Mako was running smoothly enough that Abovitz had an itch to start a new company. After visiting Golden Eye, the Jamaican estate where Ian Fleming wrote the James Bond novels, Abovitz began thinking, how can I bring together computing together with the real world and have the computers be less distracting from the real world? Abovitz is quoted as saying that I just love being out there looking at this amazing place. And I noticed that a lot of the people there that came with us just had their phones, their Androids, their Blackberries, their iPhones, just straight in front of their face, and they were just cut off from the rest of the world. And that's when I realized that computing had to change. And he quietly then launched Magic Leap that year to figure out how to merge computers with the physical world. So rather than being cut off from the world, we're with the computers and in the world at the same time. By 2013, Abovitz sold Mako to Stryker Medical, a Fortune 500 technology company, for $1.65 billion. Magic Leap is based in Florida, and the company maintains offices in New Zealand, Los Angeles, Seattle, and Mountain View, California. In 2014, October, the startup raised over $540 million of venture capital funding from Google and other investors. In 2016, Forbes estimated that Magic Leap was worth $4.5 billion. In October 2017, Magic Leap announced the partnership with the online comic book publisher Madefire. Magic Leap unveiled its first product, the Magic Leap One, on December the 20th, 2017, and that's its latest technology in virtual reality. Magic Leap is also partnering with NBA to bring virtual basketball games to its goggles. The arrangement means that users will be able to watch some NBA content like classic games or highlights once Magic Leap launches its mixed reality headset. People wearing the glasses will be able to see multiple screens overlaid onto the real world. They could pin those screens to a wall like giant movie projector, or don't have them pinned and just walk around with these like giant movie projector screens in front of them. You could watch an NBA basketball game on one screen, for example, while getting live stats or social media updates on the other. You'll have the best virtual seat in the stadium without even being physically there. Quite amazing. And I've got this extra further vision, which may not be a reality yet, and that is where each player would be wearing some sort of mini camera on them, maybe a mini GoPro of some sort, where when they've got the ball, the control room managing all the cameras will have that particular player's camera on. So you with your Magic Leap glasses will be able to see the action front right up, just like in the GoPro videos that you see where you're in the front seat, so to speak, of the action of the stunt taking place. You could be right in front of the ball as it's being played live. But that's just a concept, but it would be extremely powerful. And as the technology is exponentially just moving so fast forward, I reckon it's just a matter of time before that becomes a reality as well. Magic Leap on March 2018 announced that it raised another $461 million in funding from the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia. And there are more investors too, but there's just too many to mention here. But so far, we're up to a whopping $2.3 billion that they've raised so far. Now, that's not bad for a company that we don't even have an actual physical piece of hardware in our hands to even test out and play with and get to know what it's really all about. And there's more exciting news with Air New Zealand, because Rony Abovitz tweeted that they're working together with Air New Zealand to bring the Magic Leap experience inside their aeroplanes. Now we're going to have mixed reality infotainment, or maybe we'll call it flight-tainment or New Zealand leap-tainment. I don't know what they're going to come up with, but they'll come up with something really creative. And now imagine you'll be on those long-haul flights. You'll be able to you'll have the glasses on, but you'll still be able to see your loved ones. You'll be able to look outside the window. And at the same time, you could be looking through those glasses and having an infinite number of screens with all sorts of things to watch and check and work on while you're sitting in your seat. Those screens can stay at your seat while you get up and you walk down the aisle, and then you come back and the screens are still there. Or you could even have them virtually travel with you as you walk down the aisle and you come back. The sky's the limit, as they say, pun intended. So in the light of all this, we'll be able to understand why we don't have the Magic Leap glasses yet. So the answer is the mum rule. At his last company, Mako, Ronnie put in place what he called the mum rule, which goes well and above any regulations from FDA or international expectations that are governed for the safety and quality of products used in surgery on people. What Ronnie was really worried about and what he cared about was using it on loved ones. Hence, he coined the phrase the mum rule. Would you put this on your mum or your dad, who you had a generally healthy relationship? That was his question that he'd asked to the leaders in his company and the workers in his company. And he'd look at them straight in the eye, because this question really hits home. It's got nothing to do with generalized safety. It's more of a personalized care coming from the people manufacturing this product, that they would be willing to put people that love them, brought them into the world, willing to put their lives on the line against this product that they've made. If the answer was an absolute yes, then Ronnie would then have the confidence to go ahead and ship the product. Now, there's one extra detail here that I haven't mentioned till now, besides the mum rule, and that is that as complicated as Mako was to produce, I believe that Magic Leap is a much more bigger juggernaut and beast to get out there and launch into the wild. It's always been known that Ronnie is a perfectionist when it comes to safety and when it came to Mako. But I believe Magic Leap goes beyond the safety issues, as I don't think safety is so much of the challenge over here in the case of Magic Leap glasses. It's more of an issue of programming, because spatial programming is much more complicated than the regular programming that's done for movies and games till now. Because till now, games are on a two-dimensional screen. And even though we're trying to have 3D effects on a two-dimensional screen, now we're dealing with three-dimensional reality where you're inside the game, and spatial computing is a much more complicated beast than the classical gaming of what's been programmed on a flat screen till now. Go ask any programmer of the nightmares that they've got to go through to get this beast actually working in a type of walk inside type of experience. I believe it's much more complicated. And despite the fact that we've got some of the richest companies in the world that have handed over wads of money on a silver platter to Magic Leap still haven't released it yet. Why? Because of the complexity. But why are they giving so much money? Because I believe those people out there that have handed over the wads of money have seen something that you and I haven't seen. In spite of the fact that we've been exposed to the glasses now and we know what it looks like, there's still a lot more going on behind the scenes than what you and I actually see at this stage. And I just feel that all those naysayers out there are just jumping the gun a little bit when they haven't been fully educated on what the Magic Leap offer is yet. So I wouldn't be so quick to jump and write off Magic Leap yet, even though AR and VR still hasn't taken off at this stage. Let's keep our eyes and our minds open to what we yet haven't seen with Magic Leap. There's more yet to come. It certainly won't be all perfect first release, but you can bet your bottom dollar that the Magic Leap team are doing their best to release a second-to-none product that could change the way we run our technology and relate to it in the future. So I'm not one of those naysayers ready to ride Magic Leap off yet. In fact, I think we may be in for a few surprises when they finally get released out into the wild. Let me know what you think. Is it still a total write-off? Do you think the complexities and the perfectionism of Ronnie Abovitz is one of the big contributors, that because he's trying to release a top-notch product, or you just still think it's a waste of time and AR and VR till now haven't taken off and maybe Magic Leap is the same? I'd love to know your opinion in the comments below. If you like this, give it a thumbs up. If you don't, you can give it a thumbs down. If you haven't clicked on the subscribe button, please do right now, and that way you'll get the latest and greatest tips and tricks and latest breaking info on the technology that can make a difference in your life and mine. Until next time, bye for now.